Good evening, afternoon, good morning, YouTubers. Got a special presentation for you today. A couple of knives I've had for a while. Had to have them, especially after watching Zelric's review on these guys. These are Todd Knife and Tool designs in collaboration with Bestech. And these are some couple of real mean blades with certainly some EDC usefulness. Very much different designs, yin and yang. We've got a broad spear point style Shodan, and we have the long, pointy, and nasty Malware. Run down some specs for you real quick. Malware is 8.75 inches overall. Almost a 9-inch blade, although because of its slim profile doesn't look to be quite that large. It's got a blade length of almost 4 inches, 3.875. Cutting edge, 3.625. Blade width of 1 inch. Thickness 0.15. The steel is CPM S35VN. It's a Wharncliffe style. It's a flat grind. Handle width of 1 inch. Handle thickness of a 1/2 inch. This particular model's got carbon fiber on one side and titanium on the other, with a really classy brass anodized titanium clip. They did that more recently in the past year or so from the original ones that I've seen. It's a frame lock. It's got a model number BT1902D for this particular one. Going to run down the specs on the Shodan in just a minute. Shodan, by the way, means first degree black belt in the Japanese language. So if you're a judo player or a karateist, Shodan, first degree black belt. Dan is the ranking system. Spent more than a little while in the martial arts, and including the Japanese martial arts. Let's take a better look at the Malware. This is a extremely light blade. Did I run down the weight for you? I don't recall doing that. 3.68 ounces. And it feels very light. I mean paper light. At the same time, extremely solid and smooth, running on bearings. There's a Todd Knife and Tool logo on the pivot. And we've got a Torx, I believe it's a T8 on the other side. Their customary 3-hole pattern that Todd Knife and Tool likes to include on their designs. You're going to see it on the Shodan as well. Glass smooth opening. You can thumb flick this guy. You can spidey flick this guy. So you got 3 opening ways. We've got a brass anodized backspacer, half backspacer. And we've got a hardened steel insert in the frame lock. If you don't have one of these, you should feel one. Pick one up in your local knife or gun store if you've got access to that. This is a pointy blade. Let me see if I can get focus here. But at the same time, it's got a little more meat than you'd expect, but it is not a blade you want to pry with. Extremely sharp out of the box. This has the toothiness that I like on my edges, and that's not going to need any KME work for a little while. Probably strop it first. Hasn't done much EDC work. Mainly it's been just in the collection. Nice carbon fiber. See if we can bring this lens back a little so the close-up will work a little better. There we go. Nice carbon fiber. Nice milling work here. Otherwise, just a flat slab. Like the clip, nice offset to the rest of the knife, which is all black. You can get these in a satin with the carbon fiber. You can get them in the, let me bring that back a little. You can get them in all titanium black and all titanium natural, as far as I recall. For an example, finally located my rat Model 1 for size comparison. Let's bring it right up there. Very, very, very close. And next we have our Bestech Todd Knife and Tool Designed Shodan. This is a little more of my favorite, although I really do like the Malware. This broad blade and the ability to choke up, which you have on the Malware as well, just makes it a, I think, a fantastic knife, whether for utility, martial blade work, tactical, light duty military, because it's a strong knife, but it's not going to be, let's say, your Benchmade 80-15, 80-10 variety of knife. Still, again, for all its finesse, it is a strong knife. Got a good spine on it, got a pretty good point. Both have jimping. Pretty good jimping. I mean, that really does grab hold of your thumb, but not in an overly aggressive way. Got your 3 lines here, just kind of a style point thing. There's your 3 holes like we saw on the Malware. This is similar in that it's half carbon fiber and half titanium. This one is natural titanium instead of blackened, and the blade is a very nice satin. There's your Bestech logo. This one as well can be, come on, spidey flicked. Not quite as easily as the Malware, at least for me. And if you're not hanging on to the lock bar like I just was, flips open very nicely. You can roll it open with the thumb. Flips best though. Like it as a flipper. What are the specs on the Malware? Let's make a quick visit out to my favorite place for specs, Blade HQ. And what we got for specs, right now they're going for 246 on Blade HQ. The Malware somewhere in the 197, 198 vicinity, by the way. So the overall length on the Shodan is 8.75, right up there in the same vicinity with the Malware. Blade length 3.875, I think that's identical to the Malware. Cutting edge 3.5. You lose a little bit of edge because of that giant finger choil, but I don't mind. It's a spear point, flat ground, satin finished on this one. Handle length 4.75 inches. Handle width 1.25 inches. Thickness 0.51. And the weight is 3.93 ounces. So both of these keep the weight down. And let's see how that's done. We've got a little bit of weight relieving that we can see in the handle. Carbon fiber obviously makes it light. Let's see if I can get a light down in the might be able to see some of the cuts in there for the milling for the weight relieve. Two spots that I see that aren't associated with the lock bar relief. As I said, there's your 3 holes. There's your jimping. There's your more than ample choil with some people won't like the fact that that sharpening choil doesn't come all the way out, and instead we've got kind of a platform here, I forget what it's called. You can pinch up in there and work with that blade a number of different ways. You can choke up completely, have a little pommel left. You can come back on it a little bit. There's a nice detent right there, natural detent for the thumb for a saber grip. Lots of ways to hold this blade. And let's do a comparison here with the Rat 1. And again, we've got pretty much the same blade, pretty much the same handle, pretty much the same overall. Let's put the Griptilian, did I say Griptilian? Freak, I mean. Benchmade Freak in there for comparison. A little shorter in the handle. I'd say maybe 3/4 of an inch. Blade length, a little shorter on the Freak. And let's bring the Malware out again for comparison. Malware just feels like so much of a different knife, even though the size is pretty much spot on. Both handles are about the same width, 1/2 inch, so they're not an overly fat handle. They're easy to hang on to. Jimping, again on the Malware, very nice, same style as the Shodan. And you do have a choil, not quite as large, but you have a choil to choke up on, easily choke up on with the Malware. And I think I've covered everything I want to. A couple of real handsome EDC / tactical self-defense knives, if you will, certainly. I think with a name like Malware and Shodan, you would expect that. Hope you enjoyed this brief comparison and survey of these two fine knives from Bestech. And a shout out to great designs by Todd Knife and Tool. Zelric, you offer some fantastic reviews, and you guys, you and your brother, some fantastic designs. So best to you guys. This is this old blade, this old sword, checking out again. And don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to put on your reminders for when I have some new videos out there. And I do hope you enjoyed today. Take care.